live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Alrighty, welcome on in live from the Place Show, yet not overly ostentatious studios of 365 Sports here in beautiful New York City. This is a Wednesday edition of the Zach Gelb Show on 365 Sports. You could always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter, at Zach Gelb. That's ZACHGELB. Or you can find me on TikTok, at the Zach Gelb Show. If you're watching us live right now on YouTube and you have not subscribed to the 365 Sports YouTube page, subscribe right now. If you're consuming us after we're live, youtube.com/@365SportsYT, youtube.com/@365SportsYT. Subscribe. Garrett Ross back in our Waco, Texas studios. And away we go. Q Meyer is going to join us coming up in 60 minutes from now, right at 3 p.m. Eastern, as we will chat a little bit about the Raiders with him. We're going to be doing a new series. We're going to be going through all 32 teams, one team a day for the next 32 shows or so. And I'm going to try to stick to the draft order, and we'll talk about what that team could do in the draft with the Combine starting up next week. We will also talk what that team can do in free agency as well. The franchise tag window did open up yesterday. And before you know it, we're right around the corner until the new league year does start in March. And then we will have some mega NFL news as well. We'll also wait to see what does transpire out of the Combine, which is a rumor hub resource. And we shall see not only with the NFL draft, but we will get a glance on what's maybe going to transpire with Kirk Cousins, with Kyler Murray, and a few other quarterbacks, Tua Tagovailoa, that could be on the move as well. But last week, Garrett Ross, we did our top 10 quarterbacks right now with how we view them in the 2026 season for college football. Today, let's do our coaches. So I have compiled my list of my 10 coaches in order. We'll do it the same way that we did it last week. Don't worry, we'll get to a ton of college basketball coming up in 30 minutes. I did the studio hosting last night for Michigan Purdue. There was 11 top 25 teams in action last night. Only one top 25 matchup where they did pit off against one another, and that was Michigan just controlling for the majority of the game, the tempo up against Purdue, but some other storylines as well, some upsets. Miami, Ohio does remain unbeaten. You have Mick Cronin with all of his antics afterwards, where it's funny when there's a hard foul and there's a situation like what did transpire between Providence and St. John's. Once one domino falls, the others do fall it well. The irony here, though, is when you expect the dominoes to fall, you would think that it would be another egregious act. I didn't think it was an egregious act in the UCLA game. And Mick Cronin, who I like, Mick Cronin, who I am a fan of, I thought he just acted like a complete jackass during the game and after the game as well. So we'll play you all that stuff. Fred Hoiberg, by the way, his Nebraska squad, who is cooling down after what was a tremendous start. They have not played well in their last 5 or 6 games. They did lose to Iowa, and afterwards a fan ran up on him with the camera in his face, and he kind of smacked the camera out of the way. So we'll get into who's in the right or wrong there. But, Garrett, let's do this. Top 10 coaches in college football entering this season. I want you to run through your list 10 through 1 with me. I'll then give you some honorable mentions. We'll see how much our list does differentiate in the order, and also the 10 names that are either on your list or are on my list, or maybe not on either of our lists that could be controversial. So who is your 10th best coach in college football entering this season?
Number 10, I'm riding with Rhett Lashley at SMU.
Ooh, okay. That is a juicy one. Rhett Lashley, I like what he did a year ago at SMU. This past season, they obviously weren't horrible, but they didn't get back to the college football playoff. They didn't make it back to the ACC championship game. They didn't even win the ACC a season ago because they made the college football playoff, but Clemson ended up beating them, getting that field goal. I want to say it was like 34-31, something like that. It was a very good football game where it looked like at one point SMU was going to get out of the college football playoff in that game because of the fact they were getting blown out, but then they made it a game. You're a big Rhett Lashlee fan.
I am, dude.
Maybe that's a call your shot, buy stock in him now, and especially didn't take the Arkansas gig, so it looks like he's going to stay at SMU. That is a sleeping giant, I think, of a football program. He's starting to wake them up. But no, Rhett Lashlee was not in my top 10. And in my honorable mentions, maybe you can make a case for him, but he wasn't in my honorable mentions. So this is a juicy start already. Who's number
9? Number 9, I'm riding with Mario Cristobal at Miami.
We have the same number 9th head coach in the country. And it's funny, going into last year, Mario Cristobal, he was on the hot seat. Yeah. I don't know if Miami was going to fire him. In the national media discourse, though, it was, okay, he did a very good job at Oregon, right? There was that 1 year that they did beat Ohio State. The Oregon fans, though, kind of wanted him out. He was flirting with his alma mater in Miami forever. He finally takes it. It wasn't the most stellar start to the tenure of Mario Cristobal at Miami, but with his background at Oregon, now at Miami, and getting to a national championship game, one great season does completely turn around the way that people look at him. And with a lot of great coaches that are no longer coaching in college football and people retiring, going to the NFL, it does have some spots open. I thought Mario Cristobal was deserving. He is my 9th best coach as well.
Number 8, I'm riding with Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State.
Okay. Dillingham was a honorable mention for me.
Okay. He
was not in my top 10. And I think Dillingham is ready for a bigger job. I would have liked to have seen him take the Michigan job. Mm-hmm. Here's my thing with Kenny Dillingham. They went from the outhouse to the penthouse a year ago, right? They were picked dead last in the Big 12. They end up winning the Big 12, winning the conference championship. They almost beat Texas in that college football playoff. If they would have had a better start, they probably do beat them. That was a very fun game. I think Dillingham is a very good coach, but now we got to see if there's sustained success. I was impressed with the job that he did when Sam Leavitt got hurt, and Jeff Sims went from disaster at Georgia Tech and Nebraska to looking like a competent quarterback in that last go at it with the Sun Devils. And I was even surprised he was still playing when he got on the football field. One of those quarterbacks, he's still in college football. Now I got to see, though, what life is like for a full season without Sam Leavitt. We know Scadaboo's been away for a year. Now Jordan Tyson off to the NFL. So I like Dillingham, but I'm not ready to put him in the top 10. You have, right out of the gate, Mario Cristobal not juicy.
Right.
I think that would be on most people's top 10, or at least in the top 15. Rhett Lashlee juicy. Dillingham juicy as well in at number 8. All right, who do you got at 7?
I'm riding with Lane Kiffin at 7. Kiffin at 7.
Lane Kiffin is on my list. He is a little bit higher, though, on my list.
Okay. Number 6, I'm going with Sark at Austin, down at UT.
Okay. Sark is on my top 10 list. He is not as high up as you have gone with Steve Sarkisian. I did ding him a little bit for last year. I know they lost a ton of talent, but when you had all this hype around Arch Manning and people were saying you're the best team in college football and you don't even make a 12-team college football playoff, if you missed the 14 college football playoff, I wouldn't crush him.
Right.
A 12-team college football playoff, I gotta hold you accountable. So Sark was 6 for you?
Yeah, he's number 6 for me. Okay.
So interesting. That means you're gonna have I think a name or two that's gonna be left off your list that will be left off my list. So who do we got next?
Number 5, I put Dan Lanning at Oregon.
Okay, that is fair.
Yeah, I just like with him, I need to see him win a big game before I can fully trust and buy into him being a top coach. So that's where I have him. Number 4, I did Kalen DeBoer at Alabama.
Okay, wow. So DeBoer is on my list. You have him, though, all the way up in the 4th spot.
Yes.
Where the first 2 years he's been at Alabama, the program has beaten Georgia twice. They also lost to them once this past year in the SEC championship game. But they have never really popped to a national championship standard that we're accustomed to. with Roll Tide. So a little, I'm DeBoer last year at 4, I think would have been fair. This year, I think you're going to see him drop to like that 8 or maybe the highest 7th, the lowest, I would say 10.
Okay. Number 3, I went with Ryan Day. I'm not really a big fan of him in general, but I think finally getting the Michigan monkey off your back and then winning some national championships, I have to put you at number 3.
Okay. Well, you won the national championship a year ago and then found a way to defeat Michigan this year, even though Sharon Moore was basically texting 3,000 women in America and OnlyFans models. And Ryan Day was able to overcome that early interception in that game. Yes.
God. Number 2, I went with Kirby Smart.
I think I know who you're leaving off this list, and I'm stunned, by the way. There's 2 names that one, I'm stunned you left him off the list. The other one, I'm mildly surprised.
Oh, I'm intrigued by this.
So Kirby Smart is in at 2. Okay.
Yes. And then Cignetti at 1 just because of what you've done. And to me, you're the reigning champion, so you're number 1 coach right now.
I think 1, 2, and 3 is not even debatable. Like maybe you could debate the order.
Right.
But in the top 3 coaches in college football, you got to have in some order Cignetti, Smart, and Ryan Day. Yeah. All right. I think the 2 glaring omissions here.
Okay.
1, I think, is stunning because in the moment, it feels like this guy is a top 10 coach. No Marcus Freeman on your list.
I completely forgot about Marcus Freeman. I guess because I forget about Notre Dame in general, like getting a damn conference and make me want to watch you.
Oh,
because, dude,
they were in that. That's ridiculous. They were in the national championship game a year ago.
That's fine. I do not. To me, that program is fool's gold. Like year in and years out.
All right, Cam Newton.
No, I'm not taking it that extreme.
Yeah, that's him. He went on First Take, shat all over Notre Dame. They went to the national championship game.
I'm not a believer in Notre Dame. I've never really seen them be relevant in my 40+ years.
They were just in a national championship game 2 years ago.
Championship game playing a weak-ass schedule.
What?
Yeah.
Did they play a weak-ass schedule this past year? I know they just missed out on the college football playoff.
It wasn't the best.
All right, do me a favor here. Now I'm going to school you here first.
Okay, let's do this.
Texas A&M had a good season, right?
Yeah, they had a pretty good season.
Okay. Let me just pull up Texas A&M's schedule. And let's say if we put Notre Dame on Texas A&M's schedule last year, and I understand they lost to Texas A&M. So Notre Dame would play UTSA to open up the season. That would be a win, correct?
That's a win.
Notre Dame would then play Utah State, correct?
That's a win.
Notre Dame would then play A&M. They lost to them, so we have to give them a loss, correct, Amundo?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Notre Dame would then play Auburn.
They would beat Auburn.
Yep. Notre Dame would then play Mississippi State.
They should beat Mississippi State.
Notre Dame would play Florida.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, they would win that one.
Oh yeah, big bad SEC. Notre Dame would beat Arkansas.
Oh, they would beat Arkansas. Yeah.
Notre Dame at LSU. Late in the season, October 25th. Was Kelly already fired?
No, because A&M put the kibosh on Kelly. That was the final game. Was the A&M game. Okay. So, at that point in time, they would have beat LSU.
I agree. Then Missouri?
Would have. Yeah. All right. I see what you're doing to me. Yeah, they would have beat Missouri.
South Carolina?
Yeah, they would beat South Carolina.
Sanford?
I hope so. Jesus, I hope so.
And then Texas to wrap up the season.
No, they weren't beat Texas.
What?
Well, they might. They might have. Damn, dude.
That's the thing.
I know.
Don't get me wrong. The SEC, from top to bottom, is the preeminent conference in college football. Now, the last 3 years, the Big Ten could claim that they're the best conference in college football because you've had 3 different national champions in your school, and the SEC hasn't even made a national championship game in the last 3 seasons. So when you have Michigan, Ohio State, and now Indiana win it all, the Big Ten can claim they are the best conference, and you won't hear a peep from me. No. But when you look at the teams from top to bottom, I do think the SEC is still the best conference. And the only thing is, though, even when you say that, you have people that glaze up the SEC like you, Mr. LSU fan.
No, I'm not. They're not near as good.
That Notre Dame, join a damn conference. Well, if they were in the SEC last year, you know what? They actually would have been better. They would have actually made the damn college football playoff.
That's also one schedule.
They would have had one loss with that A&M schedule if they played that A&M schedule a year ago. And it would have been to A&M. That was it. They would have won every other game. All right. So Freeman, I'm surprised wasn't in yours. Now,
That's fair.
Notre Dame hater Garrett Ross, let me ask you this question.
Yes, sir.
This is a guy I do not like, but it provokes a fascinating conversation because he's a coach that's had a lot more success than the majority of the coaches that you just mentioned. Mm-hmm. But the last few years, we've seen his program take a hit. Dabo Swinney, not under consideration.
No, I don't think Dabo's with the current landscape of college football, and I can't support that. So for me, until he adapts, I don't think he's a top coach anymore. I just don't.
Yeah. So the tough sell for me on not having Dabo in there, and I was someone 4 years ago that said Dabo is not the same coach as he once was. Clemson's moving in the wrong direction, and it was what was the guy's name? He was a great rangy player. Didn't have that much success. Isaiah Simmons.
Okay.
I was with them on Radio Row, and I said to him, this was probably 3 years ago. I think it was when it was in L.A. So that would have been the Bengals and the Rams Super Bowl. So more than 3 years ago. I was talking to him, or maybe it was Eagles and Chiefs the first time. It was one of those two Super Bowls. I forget which one. It was that one. It was the Eagle. It was either L.A. or was that Phoenix. And I said to him, I go, like, Dabo is no longer a great coach. I go, Clemson is no longer a great coach. He's like, what do you mean? He goes, do you see how many ACC championships we've won? I go, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I go, when Dabo got to Clemson, they would just dream of winning ACC championship after ACC championship. But when you became a legitimate thorn in the you-know-what of Alabama and you won not one, but 2 national championships, the standard was, can Dabo win a 3rd national championship? So don't get me wrong. Clemson had bottomed out for them this year. Dabo's going to fall on these lists. I still have him in the top 10 because of the history and the past. And you're not wrong. In terms of adapting to the times, Dabo is not where he needs to be. He said before, his program is built on the name, image, and likeness of God. That's a dig at NIL. The transfer portal, he's starting to use it a little bit, but not still where he needs to be. He's gotten better at it, but it's not a full go that's conducive to winning. And this was the year that we saw it really bottom out. But you have Rhett Lashley in the top 10, right, who Dabo beat in an ACC championship game just 2 years ago. Clemson, to me, will still be a perennial player to win the ACC. But in terms of winning a national championship, that's where they've declined. I don't think it's crazy to leave them out of the top 10. But your 10th coach was Rhett Lashley, and your 8th coach was Kenny Dillingham. Yeah. Maybe in 3 years from now, we're talking about those guys clearly in the top 10, but his pass was just a tiebreaker for me. Now, all right, I'll give you my list here. So I was surprised no Freeman. Stunned, actually, no Marcus Freeman.
I totally get that. I completely forgot about him.
I was a little bit surprised on Dabo Swinney. A little bit surprised on Dabo Swinney. Just because I don't know how many great coaches there still are in college football, and his resume is still the resume. All righty. In at number 10 for me, Steve Sarkisian. He's won the Big 12 with Texas in their last year in the Big 12. He took Texas to an SEC championship game, Texas's first year in the SEC. Also got them to be the lone SEC team remaining that year as they were in the Final Four. And they ended up losing to Ohio State, who did go on to win the national championship, by the way. In that game, a horrendous play call by Steve Sarkisian with the toss to the running back where I think they needed like 2 yards, and they ended up losing 6 or 7 yards on the play. Was not good right there by Steve Sarkisian. Still has not relinquished the play calling duties. This year, they weren't horrible, but they were supposed to be a shoo-in for the college football playoff. They had 3 losses. All they did was bitch and complain about not making it. When you have 3 losses on the schedule, I don't want to hear it in a 12-team playoff. Now he has to get the most out of Arch, but I did put Steve Sarkisian in at 10. Now, here were people that I had honorable mentions. I'll go honorable mention just to kind of compare, show you who I put Sark in over. Kyle Whittingham has done a heck of a job at Utah, now a big boy job in Michigan. I got to see the success at Michigan with him before I put him back in the top 10 in previous years. With the job that he's done at Utah, especially when he won back-to-back Pac-12 championships, I did put him in the top 10 in previous years. Matt Campbell is someone that I don't love, I do not love Matt Campbell. When Matt Campbell was at Iowa State, there was one year they were expected to win the Big 12 championship. They failed miserably, and he said, I never said something along the lines of, that was my goal to win the Big 12. That's what you guys said. My goal is just to be the best together, like we team that we could be. So I didn't like that line, but now he takes the big job in Penn State. And I think from a personality standpoint, him and Happy Valley is a good match, but you just got rid of James Franklin for not winning the big games. Matt Campbell, with significantly fewer resources at Iowa State. When there was big expectations, he kind of did run away from it. James Franklin is an honorable mention for me. There's some good coaches on 10, 9, and 8 on this list. I don't know how many great coaches. James Franklin, bad year last year. Time to move on. I think he could have a lot of success, though, at Virginia Tech. Kenny Dillingham, honorable mention. I just got to see more with the young coach like that. Mike Elko, honorable mention. I understand tremendous resources, really good fit at Texas A&M. Their season at the end didn't go the way that they wanted to, but them being in the college football playoff last year, at times looking like the best team in the country last year, that has to mean something. Now I just got to see more consistency. Here's a name that if he has a good year, I wanted to put him in the top 10.
Okay.
But I now got to see what life is like for him without Diego Pavia.
Oh,
what Clark Lee has done the last 2 years at Vanderbilt, he was on the verge of getting thrown out to pasture, and he was a dead man walking, and he has turned it. Like last year, he turned it around. This past season, he started to get that thing to soar, and they were a 10-2 team for whatever reason, barely got any consideration for the college football playoff. If he goes and posts like a 9-3 record this year, I'm not saying he's definitely a top 10, but he stayed when he could have left. That's a school that like I was there. What was it? I think it was Derek Mason was the coach. I forget who the coach was. It was 2014 or 2015. Temple, my alma mater. They went to Vanderbilt and not only beat Vanderbilt, they beat Vanderbilt like a drum, as if I was the greatest percussionist in the world, and I was just slamming those bongos. That's what we did. We went belt to ass on Vanderbilt, and I went to that Hattie B's fried chicken place and stuffed my fat face with some delicious fried chicken. It was a great trip. Now, there was a delay in that game. It was like a weather delay, and it caused a 2-hour delay. But Clark Lee's just a name to monitor. As maybe potentially a top 10 coach one day in college football. Here's their schedule this year. They play, who is this? APSU, is that Austin P?
That's Austin P, yeah.
Yeah, so they play Austin P, big opponent week 1. Then they play Delaware, big opponent week 2. Then they play NC State and Auburn. Now, Golish, I think they'll be improved. I like their quarterback this year. They should be 4-0 to start off the season.
Yeah, at least 3-1.
Yeah, bare minimum 3-1.
Yeah.
Then they play Georgia, Ole Miss, tough, but we'll see what Ole Miss looks like. I know Golding had a good run in the college football playoff. Chambliss is now back with Kewan Lacey, but let's see what they look like without Lane Kiffin for the entirety of the season. Then they play Arkansas, new coach in Silverfield, Kentucky, new coach in Will Stein, Mississippi State, Alabama late in the season, Florida, new coach in Summerall, and then Josh Heupel with Tennessee. Like, it's not crazy to say they go 9-3. If they go 9-3 first year without Diego Pavia, that's a heck of a year. At worst case scenario, they should be an 8-4 football team this upcoming season. And here's my last coach that just honorable mention, Joey McGuire. Like, yes, they have all the resources. I understand that. Now they get Sorsby. They just won the Big 12. I got to give him an honorable mention as well. So honorable mentions, Winningham, Campbell, Franklin, Kenny Dillingham, Elko, Clark Lee, and Joey McGuire. My top 10 coaches in college football.
All right.
In at number 10, Steve Sarkisian. Already gave you the explanation on that one. In at number 9, we both agree, Mario Cristobal. This past year was a career-changing year for Mario Cristobal, and he's now also beat Ohio State twice at 2 different schools. When he was the coach of Oregon, went into the shoe and beat them. C.J. Verdell, I think, was the running back. He had a big game, if memory serves me right. And then this year, in the college football playoff, for crying out loud, they beat Ohio State. Heck of a job by Mario Cristobal. Now as Darian Mensah, I think Darian Mensah is going to be better than Carson Beck. In at number 8, Kalen DeBoer. I love me some Kalen DeBoer. I was a big fan of his when he was at Fresno State. Then he took Washington, of all programs, to a national championship game, beat Dan Lanning twice that season, but now has the creme de la creme job in college football. First year, 3 losses. They miss out in the college football playoff. Lost that game to Oklahoma. It was a miserable performance by Jalen Milroe. And then this year, his quarterback failed him down the stretch, but they made the college football playoff. They avenged the loss to Oklahoma.
Yep.
Then they just got annihilated up against Indiana. Like, it's not – I think DeBoer is a heck of a coach, and I believe DeBoer will inevitably one day, if they give him patience, will win and time. We'll give him a national championship at Alabama. But now you enter year 3, it's go time. Like, I think you can make a case he could be as high as, like, 5 or 4 on this list, but just without the first 2 seasons, how they've been fine, but they haven't been to the Alabama standard, I have to drop him in at number 8. Number 7, Dabo Swinney. He's fading, but one season doesn't crush him. It may crush him for a whole lot of other people in these top 10 lists. You didn't have him in on your top 10 list. He'll probably win the ACC. Maybe this upcoming year. Miami, you probably give them the edge. I get that, but he's going to be in the mix. That used to not be within question. It was usually, I know like Pitt won it one year, but it was usually death taxes for the last 10 years. Clemson won the ACC. My problem with Dabo, as we discussed, the standard for them should still be national championship. I don't think he wins another national championship, and he's got to adjust to the new level and the new way of college football. He is fading.
Yep.
It reminds me a little bit, and he's not as great of a coach as Belichick was, but Belichick's like last 2 years in New England, you would do these lists, and people would be like, you just put Bill in the number 1 spot because he's 6-time Super Bowl champion. I have to ding Dabo a few spots with how miserable this year was when they were perceived to be the best team in the country. They had the most experienced quarterback in reason that actually played in Cade Klubnik, and they were just a flat-out disaster, an absolute disaster. And they opened up that season with a loss to LSU, right?
No, they won. They beat LSU.
They beat LSU. That's right.
Yeah.
So they beat LSU, and then after that, the season was just
off the rails.
A disaster. Like think about that. So like that's a team that when you look at them and you see them, they how that season ended up going. No, LSU beat Clemson.
They beat them. Yeah, because they beat them the year before. And then LSU beat them
so LSU beat Clemson, and that was kind of the writing on the wall that okay, this team wasn't as good as what we thought, and the offense was god awful in that game.
They were terrible.
The final score was 17-10. So I put Dabo in at number 7. In at number 6, Lane Kiffin. Lane took Ole Miss, even though he may not get the credit for it. But he took them to the college football playoff. And now he ends up at your school, Mr. LSU. And you have 3 coaches since the year of 2000 that have won an Natty at LSU. You had Saban, you had Les Miles, and then Mr. Go Tigers in Ed Orgeron, one of my favorite people of all time. What he did at Ole Miss, really special. Now, with those resources, you better go win a national championship. So Sark at 10, Mario Cristobal at 9, Kalen DeBoer in at 8, Dabo Swinney in at 7, and then in at number 6 is Lane Kiffin. Here's my top 5. Marcus Freeman in at number 5. He overcame the early, just ridiculously bad losses in his career to Northern Illinois. And I just saw their coach, Thomas Hammock, today, who has a background with the Ravens before and has an NFL background. He left to go be, I believe it's the running back coach for the Seattle Seahawks, which, you're the coach in a MAC school. I get it. It's his school. He beat Notre Dame 2 years ago. Like, it's tough to see it get that much better for him. And maybe he just wasn't getting the bite for a bigger program. The quality of life in the NFL, and he's going to be highly compensated, is a lot better these days than it is with college football. And I like Thomas Hammock. I shot him a text today. We'll see if he gets back. We'll try to get him on. But I'm not going to play a small violin for a lot of these coaches when they bitch about dealing with the transfer portal, name, image, and likeness. But Freeman overcame those early losses to Northern Illinois and also Marshall. He's probably one of the most respected coaches in college football. He brought Notre Dame, who was relevant 2 years ago, to a national championship. And then this past season, if the way that the criteria is this year, they would have been in for this upcoming season. They would have been in for last season. You had 2 losses by minuscule margins to Miami and A&M. I think Notre Dame's going to be a big player once again this year. They're going to be very relevant. Marcus Freeman in at number 5. Now in at number 4, Dan Lanning. Big game questions.
Yeah,
I get that. I don't think it's a matter, and I know Oregon fans are probably tired of this because they've heard it with a lot of coaches, of if he's going to win a national championship. I think it's just going to be a matter of when. We saw Ryan Day overcome some early snafus in the big game. The problem with Oregon is the last 2 years when they've been in that college football playoff and they've lost and they've tapped out, it has been ugly.
Yep.
Like, it has been just almost non-competitive and unwatchable. Like, they got smacked by Indiana on the verge of going to a national championship game. They weren't even competitive. And I get it. Indiana was Indiana, and they lost to them twice. One at their place and then one on the neutral site location. And then you had a year ago them just get smacked by the eventual national champion in Ohio State. So I believe in Dan Lanning. His first year in the Big Ten 2 years ago, they won the Big Ten championship. He's a very good coach. Now you got to go out there and win the big game for the foreseeable future, and you get Dante Moore back. It's championship or bust. Like, I don't think maybe Sark's the only one that you could debate it, but I think there's more pressure. I think Oregon's the team that's under the most pressure this season in college football to go win a national championship.
No, I think that's a really good point. I mean, you have all the resources. To me, you're like essentially have made yourself the West Coast A&M or Texas Tech because you can never win the big game, but you have everything at your disposal there. It's inexcusable for them not to come out and compete for a championship. They have to. They have great talent. You have arguably the best quarterback coming back. And Dan Lanning has finally got to step up and win some big games, but you have everything at your disposal. They should be better than what they are.
All righty. In at number 3, Ryan Day. You could argue that he's the most consistent coach in college football. I am not a fan of Crying Ryan, but I could be fair and give him his praise. Now, the big game issue did pop up after winning a national championship. They really weren't all that competitive up against Miami when that game was sloppy early on. The quarterback threw a pick 6. I didn't love their schedule this past year outside of Texas to open up the season. But you look at Ryan Day, this guy is just a double-digit win machine. He doesn't lose many games. He has a national championship, so I got to put him in a top 3 coach in the country. But Indiana did a nice job with them this year, going up against some of the Big Ten championship games, some inexcusable decisions by Ryan Day, and when to go for it, when to kick it, all that stuff. And then also, got disposed by Mario Cristobal as well. In at number 2, Kirby Smart. It's weird to put Kirby at 2. And then I'm going to also say I'm a little disappointed in Kirby Smart.
Yeah.
Because they won back-to-back national championships. They were humming. They were supposed to be the next Alabama. And don't get me wrong. They just go out there, they win the SEC. Like, they won the SEC this year. They crushed Alabama. The year before that, they won the SEC, beating Texas in the game where Gunnar Stockton came in. But we haven't seen them now not only fail to get to win a national championship in the last 3 seasons, just get there. And the last 2 years in the 12-team college football playoff, coming off the bye, they have 2 losses where they lost to Notre Dame, relevant performance by Notre Dame. Then also they ended up losing this past year to Ole Miss coming off the bye. So my question for Kirby Smart, it's now, can you go get a 3rd? Now, I don't think he's Dabo, like when we asked, can Dabo get a 3rd?
Yeah.
I think he will get a 3rd. But there's been a lot of off-the-field issues at Georgia, a ton of them, and that's something also to monitor. And then in at number 1, he's the most impressive coach in college football right now. That's Curt Cignetti.
Yep.
We're talking about the Hoosiers with Josh Hoover. And Kurt Signetti, the last 2 seasons, now it's going to be 3 straight seasons with different quarterbacks. He's been to the college football playoff twice. Just getting there the first time would have been an all-time great story for Indiana. Even though they lost that game to Notre Dame, Jeremiah Love right out of the chute, boomed down the sideline for like a 97, 98-yard touchdown, whatever it was. But then the next year, when people thought they would fall off, be like a 3-4 loss team, they didn't fall off.
Nope.
They actually did a little Creed. Can you take me higher? Can you take me higher? And they soared. They were flying with the wings, with the Angels and all that stuff in that Cowboys halftime show because they won a national championship. And not only won a national championship, they were an undefeated national champion with the Heisman Trophy winner. Yep. So my top 10 coaches in college football entering this season: Sark in at 10, Mario Cristobal in at 9, Kalen DeBoer in at 8, Dabo Sweeney in at 7, Lane Kiffin in at 6, Marcus Freeman in at 5, Dan Lanning in at 4, Ryan Day in at 3, Kirby Smart in at 2, and then Kurt Signetti in at number 1. Zach Gelb here with you on 365 Sports. We will take a timeout when we come on back. What a crazy, and I mean a crazy day in college basketball. Was Mick Cronin in the wrong, or was he in the right? Was Fred Hoiberg in the wrong? Was he in the right? We discuss next.
What I love most about playing basketball is the competition. I really just like being shifty, mastering hesitation moves, changing direction, building chemistry with new teammates. If you're not having fun while you're playing, it's no point in playing the game. You know what to do. Escape Basic. Pair of Thieves quick dry underwear. It wicks away sweat and helps keep you dry. You looking forward to fishing season?
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com.
I'm here to work out with you.
We did not put this little cookie cutter program together.
I'm in there with you, sweating, yelling, doing the damn thing.
Transform by Core Home Fitness.
A secret, I travel internationally every year. I struggle with insomnia both at home and especially in hotels. This was life-changing. It's called Fly Kit. My favorite aspect of the Fly Kit is it tells you when to sleep.
Dude, check out this robe. This is the dude robe. It's perfect for after the shower, gym, or even the beach. This thing is awesome. It also has this super premium towel lining to dry you off right away. Dude, what are you waiting for? Get yourself a dude robe today.
At Dreamy, we believe that life can be upgraded in comfort, convenience, and joy. He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Alrighty, welcome back in. It is the Zach Gelb Show on 365 Sports. My eyesight wasn't good there when I was coming back from break, Garrett Ross. So we have a chat. I wrote good stuff in that last segment. You wrote, yes, sir, I'm posting that on its own video. I said, cool, good idea. And then I see you wrote back, thanks, man. But I read it as you saying, thanks, mom.
What?
This little
damn, dog.
Getting all cocky, getting all funny here.
I see that.
So when I saw that at first, because the screen's a little bit far away, and that's a little bit old. I read it as thanks, mom.
Thanks,
I go,
mom.
thanks, mom.
What the
I go, I'm a man.
I'm 40.
I'm not 40, but I'm a man. and I saw thanks, Mom. So get a little chuckle out of that. Q Meyer is going to, by the way, join us coming up at the top of the hour. We will go through the Raiders with him. We'll be doing over the next 32 days or so, one team in the NFL. We'll probably try to keep it to the draft order as close as we can. So with the Raiders have the number 1 overall pick, we will start things off with them. I was doing Compass Media Networks last night, Michigan and Purdue studio hosting. Good showing by the Wolverines. Yaxel Lendenborg didn't even have his best performance, but you see the depth of Michigan. I don't know if Michigan has a great player, but they have a lot of very good, tough players. And there's a reason why they're the number 1 team in the country. They have 1 loss on the season. Huge showdown coming up this Saturday up against Duke. I would lean that Duke gets the victory in that one, but I wouldn't put anything past Michigan, and I love me some Dusty May. But you saw the depth in that one last night as Michigan walked into Purdue, and it's not an easy place to play at Mackey Arena. And their depth was just obvious as Michigan's bench outscored the Boilermakers bench 34-15. So Michigan did get the victory last night. But Michigan State and UCLA is a game that made a lot of headlines. You may be saying, Zach, well, Michigan State was expected to beat UCLA. Not only did they beat them, they smacked them by a final score of 82-59. What would be the big talking points? Well, it's now Mick Cronin. Let's watch. This is Steven Jamerson, who is on the UCLA basketball team. I was actually reading an article this morning that gave a little history. He tried to walk on at Michigan State, was told no, then asked to be a manager, was told no as well, went to a smaller school, and then worked his way to UCLA. So this is a big game last night for Steven. It's late in the game. They're getting blown out. He's hustling, but because of the Duncan Powell situation with Providence and St. John's, and you had that dirty foul by Duncan Powell, people are going to see this at first, and maybe that's fresh in their mind. They're going to think it's a dirty play, but I thought this was just a hustle play, and Mick Cronin ended up, it was a flagrant one, he ended up ejecting his own player. He ejected his own, told this player, you're out, goodbye, we don't tolerate that. Here was the play, watch it.
Cross-court pass, we'll get a free run for Cooper. He gets fouled hard from behind by Jamerson, and Cooper gets right in Jamerson's face because of the hard foul. Jamerson stood his ground. Now remember, Jamerson, a student here at Michigan State. Mick Cronin says, I want you out.
Yeah, Mick is sending him into the locker room. Because Cooper is way out there, right? You don't want to hurt anybody this late in the game. Cooper is way out there for a dunk. You don't want to be dirty. You know what I mean?
Well, and you know, here's the thing.
I don't know about you, Garrett. I've watched that play now. And I know his last name is Jamerson. They should call him Jamerson when a basketball player. I just think it makes sense. So I'm going to petition to change his name or just the pronunciation of the name. Like maybe at first look, like you see that, you go, all right, late in the game, it's a blowout, it's a hard foul. But when they slow that down, he's making a legitimate play on the basketball.
No, he is. I also think you could counter that and say, well, if he's not hustling down the court and it's late in the game, then you could say, well, why are you giving up? Like, coaches are always looking for something. And that, to me, you're making a play on the ball. It wasn't anything egregious. Yeah, you got a little bit over the top of his head. Cooper bounced up and got in his grill. I think that's what really started it. Like, I don't have a problem with that play. I think it's stupid to eject him.
You know, we really have become soft a lot of times.
Yes.
When it does come to sports, we really have, with just the way that things have changed through the years. So, like I understand we're a prisoner of the moment, and maybe the Duncan Powell play is on people's mind, and maybe it's on Mick Cronin's mind. But the idea, like, you eject your own player, like, what are you trying to, like? What are you even trying to accomplish there, Garrett, by ejecting your own play? Like, how many times in sport does a player, let's say, I don't think he committed a wrong here.
No.
Well, let's say your player did commit a wrong. If the officials say he could say in the game, I've never seen a coach eject his own player. It's different, like you're saying, if the player wasn't hustling,
right,
and if the player was dogging it, and if the player maybe like threw a punch and the officials miss you, guy. We're going to de-escalate the situation. We're going to put you on the bench. You dogged it. You did something stupid. Boom. We'll put you on the bench. But to literally embarrass the kid, point your finger at him and say, get out. When he used to be a student at Michigan State, tried to walk on, was rejected. They wouldn't even let him hold a clipboard or hold the basketballs in practice when he was trying to be a manager. He transfers, puts in the work, and finds his way at UCLA where he's going up against Michigan State, and the kid's giving it his all after your team, Mick Cronin, is getting embarrassed. He's the one kid that was showing some heart. He was the one kid that was showing some heart. That's what he was doing. And you tell the kid, get on out. Like, I like Mick Cronin. I'm a fan of Mick Cronin. I liked his teams when he was at Cincinnati. He took UCLA to a Final Four. But that's the kid that you eject. You tell your own kid, oh, you're hustling. You're giving it your all. We're getting the shit kicked out of us. You know what? I don't want that with my program. Get on out. Like, I like Mick Cronin, but it's a bad look, Mick, when you embarrass your own kid who is a dang walk-on, was trying to make Michigan State. They said, no, thank you. We don't want you. Get on out. You can't even be the manager. And that's the kid that you try to emasculate in that moment. The one kid showing some damn toughness, showing some heart, is fighting to the final whistle. That's the kid you eject. Shame on you, Mick Cronin. Shame on you. Those are my thoughts on it, Garrett.
No, I think it pretty much sums it up. And if I'm a coach that's recruiting against him, I'm playing that clip at every kid's house. I'm going to play.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to go play for this guy? Does he believe in his players?
Yeah, but here's the difference.
Whines constantly.
Here's the difference now. I could just say, you want a few $1 million? If I'm Mick Cronin, I don't think that's – I'd be like, yeah, I'd go play for you, coach. You want to eject me? Go ahead.
Like, I don't want to play for an asshole coach at this stage. Like, if I'm a kid. I think guys like that are kind of getting weeded out as years unfold in every sport.
Yes, but
all he does is complain, man.
Okay, but here's the thing. I want if I'm a player, I want a player's coach, but I know for me to get the best out of myself, I can't be, you can't have the coach be a doormat. Like, there's a fine line. There is a fine line. Now, this wasn't even the craziest thing that Mick Cronin did of the night. So after the game, Xavier Booker, who's now on UCLA, was at Michigan State, though. I think he was asked a question about Xavier Booker and, something that was being said in the crowd. I have no clue, but it was a little faint to hear. But this was Mick Cronin getting into it with what I believe is a Michigan State reporter. Listen up.
In the student section chanting Booker's name.
I could give a rat's ass about the other team's student section.
I just meant overall the way that you
I would like to give you a kudos for the worst question I've ever been asked.
Did you like
you should take it.
The preparation of the
you really think I care about the other team's
No, I don't
section?
think you care about the other
Are you
team's
raising your voice at me?
No, I'm just
Yeah, you
talking
are.
to you.
Yeah, you are. Come on, dude.
No reason.
Come on. Yes, you are. Everybody's standing here listening to you. Everybody. This is on camera. They can hear you. I answered the question. I could give a rat's ass about the other team's student section. I coach UCLA. I don't care about Michigan State students. I mean, who cares?
The preparation.
So it's like there's one thing to lose. There's another thing when you lose to not act like an ass. It's a legitimate question. You're at Sparty Party. The opposing team student section is obviously talking about your player because it used to be their player, and that's just college basketball now. The kid that Duncan Powell hit, he was at Providence the year prior. Even though I don't know when Duncan Powell got there. I don't think he was part of their program last year. But anyway, that just happens. That's the norm in college basketball. So it's a story, right? The student section saying something about your own player. How do you react to it? Here's the irony of that. And this is when you know a coach is just in a pissy mood, Garrett Ross. He's saying, you raise your voice at me. Dude, the reporter never raised his voice.
No, he didn't. That's a narcissist. He's acting like a straight narcissist. He raised his voice.
He did. Play me that clip one more time, please. I just want to hear it again and make sure that I'm just not. I've seen this multiple times. I just want to make sure I'm not missing something.
In the student section chanting Booker's name.
I could give a rat's ass about the other team's student section.
I just meant overall the way that you
I would like to give you a kudos for the worst question I've ever been asked.
All right.
Did you like
You should take it.
the preparation of the?
You really think I care about the other team?
No, I don't think you care about the other
Are you
team.
raising your voice at me?
No, I'm just.
Yeah, you are.
Oh, what an ass.
Come on, dude.
No reason.
Come on, dude. Yes, you are. Everybody's standing here listening to you. Everybody. This is on camera. They can hear you. I answered the question. I could give a rat's ass about the other team's student section. I coach UCLA. I don't care about Michigan State students. I mean, who cares?
So he was the one that was being combative. It wasn't the reporter.
Exactly.
And like the reporter, did his voice get higher? Yes. But like it didn't get into being combative and loud. And like when you say raising your voice, it'd be like, you shut up, Garrett Ross. You don't talk that way to me. He was like, huh? Like what? Like he's responding because he was confused, probably the reporter, on why you're being such a prick about it.
And also, he could have turned around and just answered the other question and let it be, but still he went back and re-engaged with him.
Bingo. He kept on going at it.
Exactly.
I don't think that's a reporter's fault. So that's the night that Mick Cronin had it. Now, Iowa did upset number 9 Nebraska. Nebraska on the season, they're having a great season. They're 22-4, but they're 2-4 in their last 6. So their 4 losses in the season, they've all come in their last 6 games. They've lost to Michigan, Illinois, Purdue, and Iowa. After the game, let's see the first video. They're doing the handshake line, which I don't really need to see happen. I'm not a big advocate of handshakes, really, after games. I've never been a fan and really criticize a handshake line, whether you shake hands or not, but it happens in college basketball. It happens, after, series do conclude in the Stanley Cup playoffs for hockey. But Fred Hoiberg, because you see this video at first, and you may be like, you smack the camera out of somebody's hands. Then there's an alternative angle that will show you both. But let's get the first angle. This is the coach of Nebraska with Iowa storming the court. And Fred Hoiberg wasn't happy with the fan and smacked his phone out of his hand. So you see that video at first without hearing it, and you just go like, oh, Fred Hoiberg is just knocking the camera out of somebody's hand. Like, you're 22-4, learn how to lose with a little class, right? But then when you hear that audio, Garrett, and the audio is like, nice game, buddy, and you have the stones on some like 18-year-old drunk college student, nice game, buddy. I have no problem with Fred Hoiberg smacking that phone out of somebody's hands. There used to be a line, like a respect line. Mm-hmm. I'm not that far removed from college. I know I did the basketball games when I was in college, but even when I was a student, I'd be in the stands and you would, win a game and storm a court. I couldn't, and maybe it's the gotcha social media era, I couldn't imagine antagonizing the other team. It would just be running to the court to celebrate with my fellow student on the big win. Now it's, okay, let me try to embarrass the other team in college athletics.
It's all about going viral. That kid was trying to go viral. He went viral. He got what he wanted. That's exactly what it is, man. It's totally different from when you were doing it.
Now, here is the other angle, because the other angle I think is actually is better. Go ahead. So how about that? Like, Fred Hoiberg almost knocked out, I think it was an opposing team's assistant coach on Iowa, but then he clearly points, hey, I was slapping the phone out of the hand of that jackass student of yours. So that was Iowa and Nebraska. NC State did blow out number 16 UNC last night. UNC wasn't at a full percentage of health. Henry Vasar, who's dealing with the lower extremity issue, we'll see when he gets back. He was not in the game. Now, Caleb Wilson, he had that fracture in his hand that was suffered on February 10th, so 7 or 8 days ago, and he suffered that injury. I saw that Hubert Davis does a radio show every other week, and it was the week of the radio show was actually this week, and he said that Caleb Wilson should be able to return soon, so maybe better than what was once feared for the UNC sensational star, but NC State with Will Wade just absolutely clobbered UNC last night. Florida, the defending champions, are starting to heat up. They did beat South Carolina for the second time this season. They defeated them 76-62. How about Arizona State last night? If this doesn't just totally encapsulates what college basketball is this year, because I will say with college hoops, the last 3 or 4 years, I was someone that was leading the charge and basically just saying, okay, this is turning into a 1 month sport. That's what it felt like it was turning into. This year, the college basketball, I think, has been so fun to watch because there's so much parity and there's so many good teams. I don't know if there is a great team, but there's so many good teams that you could legitimately look at the top 25 and say, oh, I can make a case for 20 of those teams to go on out there and win a national championship. So I looked last night, Arizona State, I think they ended the game at like 13-12 or something like that. We're talking about Bobby Hurley's future, and a lot of people think he's going to get fired. And they pull up the upset against Texas Tech, who is a top 15 in the country, 72-67. I thought that was a letdown spot for Texas Tech. They probably didn't get up for the game because you're going up against a lowly Arizona State team after you just beat, at the time, number 1 ranked Arizona. But later on in that game, JT Toppin suffered what looked like a very serious leg injury. So we'll see what his status is moving forward, JT Toppin, and we hope he's not going to be lost for the rest of the season because Grant McCaslin's squad does have a good team this year at Texas Tech with the Red Raiders. Rhode Island did upset St. Louis 81-76. So that's St. Louis's with Josh Ertz, who's going to get a big job after this year. That's their second loss on the season. And then Miami of Ohio did remain unbeaten. They are now 26-0 in the regular season. They had 25 wins last year. This year, they're already out to that 26-0 start. They defeated UMass. Game is closer than what people expected. Frank Martin, obviously the coach at UMass now, 86-77. And then some other wins where, you know, you pick up a few losses and you may say, okay, you could be on the bubble. So you're not safe, but a nice job by SMU getting a big win over Louisville, 95-85. SMU, the Mustangs, are now 18-8 on the season. And then Ohio State did just destroy Wisconsin, the 24th ranked team in the country. And Wisconsin, I think, is the only team to beat Michigan this year. But Ohio State did defeat Wisconsin 86-69. Ohio State with the Buckeyes are now 17-9 on the season. So that was the night in college basketball. We will take a timeout. When we come on back, we are going to start a new series. We're going to go through all 32 teams, I believe, over the next 32 days. That's how we're going to try to do it. We'll try to stay with the draft order. We'll talk coaching cycle with this team, Clint Kubiak. We will talk about their draft as they have the number 1 overall pick. We will delve into Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers and what they could do in free agency. We will start our offseason report coming up next. We will kick it off with the team that has the number 1 team in the draft in the Las Vegas Raiders with a old friend of the 365 Sports family. Back to the Central Texas days when you guys used to do just the radio show. Q Myers, who now does a talk show out in Las Vegas, is also a national sports talk guy for ESPN Radio. So Q Myers, good friend. He's going to join us when we come on back in about 2 minutes.
The 4-burner, side sear burner with Clearview Glass stainless steel grill from Monument Grills. Made of tempered glass, which is strong, insulated, and allows you to check your grilling without lifting the lid. Our porcelain-coated cast iron cooking grids offer a large cooking surface of 513.3 square inches, primary cooking area, with even heat cooking. The Monument Grills include LED control knobs and are easy to light with pilotless electronic ignition. Better grilling, better value, Monument Grills.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
I'm Abby Dommett, 2023 CrossFit Games athlete, and I use Airwave because it helps me breathe easier and stay more relaxed during my workouts.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Very discreet.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Alrighty, welcome back in. It is the Zach Gelb Show right here on 365 Sports. We'll go out to the guest line right now. Welcome in our pal Q Myers as we're going to take a look at the Raiders as they're about to enter this offseason. Clearly, the Raiders do have the number 1 overall pick. They bring in Clint Kubiak as their head coach, and maybe Raiders fans can start to have some tangible optimism, but I'm going to pump the brakes on that one for right now. Q, how you been?
Man, I'm good. How are you? It's been a minute. I think we saw each other at the Super Bowl, so it's been a quick minute, man. It's good to see you.
Yeah, usually we spend some more extensive time together.
Yep.
You saw Paul Catalina, and Paul never shuts the bleep up. So then I did kind of a drive-by. I was like, hey, Q, I know I haven't seen this week. Good to see you. Maybe we'll catch up later, but it just never came to fruition. So you big-time me. That's what you did.
Nah. Hey, man, you're the big time, man. I'm glad to be on your show, man. It's an honor, and you know how busy it is on Radio Row, man. But it's a blessing that we get to do that. So, I feel good about everything.
1,000%. All right, let's start off with the number 1 overall pick. They're taking Mendoza. I know people with the draft not coming up until the end of April. They got to create content. They got to get cutesy with it. Maybe there's an argument they should trade the number 1 pick. I don't even really obliged by that one, but they're definitely taking Mendoza. They're not trading this pick, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind they're going to take Mendoza. There's no reason to trade that pick. I keep hearing the narrative, well, the Raiders aren't ready to draft a quarterback. Nobody picking number 1 overall is ready to pick that quarterback, but they have to do it. There's a reason they're picking number 1. So, yeah, the easiest solution to this problem is pick Mendoza and start to go from there. They've got plenty of draft capital. They've got plenty of salary cap space. They have a brand new head coach. They can pair these two together and hope that this is the right pairing. And it's been a long time, but it makes all the sense in the world. Fernando Mendoza is the worst kept secret across the National Football League that he'll be a Las Vegas Raider.
Yeah, and here's the tricky part with Mendoza, because we're stubborn, and when things don't go the way that we envision them or expect it, sometimes people hang on to those old takes. No one was talking about Fernando Mendoza before the start of the season. It reminded me a lot like Joe Burrow at LSU. Then he goes on out there, was the Heisman Trophy winner, undefeated national champion. And I get it, Mendoza didn't throw 60 touchdown passes, but when you win a national championship in Indiana in a weak quarterback draft class, you're rising up the draft boards. I think Mendoza could be good in the NFL. I don't know if he's going to be great, but what are your expectations of the NFL player that he could potentially become in the league?
I think he can become a good quarterback. I don't think he's an elite quarterback by no stretch of the imagination. I don't see Joe Burrow in him. I know that a lot of people have tried to put that comparison. I'm not foolish enough to think that he's going to be that guy, but I think he's really good. And Zach, what stands out to me about him the most is what he has between the ears. All right, this dude is a guy that got accepted to Yale. I don't know if you know, but Yale wouldn't accept me to pick up trash out front. You know what I mean? They'd be like, nah, Q, you got to take this somewhere else, man. Your resume don't stand up. He's a smart dude. That's a position where you need to be smart to be able to play it. Clint Kubiak's system is very, complex. And so it's going to take a guy that's got it between the ears to be able to figure it out. He's athletic enough to get it done. He's got a strong enough arm to get it done. He'll be the best quarterback that the Raiders have, in my opinion, since 2016 Derek Carr, when Derek Carr was somewhat in the MVP conversation. He broke his ankle, didn't get to play in the playoffs. That was the last time I thought Derek Carr was playing at his best level. I think Fernando Mendoza will be right around there, and I think that's a good thing for the Raiders.
Yeah, it's funny, not in terms of play style, but when I was thinking what Mendoza could be, I was thinking to myself, he could be a better version of Derek Carr. Or maybe even like Jared Goff, who has been to a Super Bowl, then also took the Lions to an NFC championship game. I don't think anyone ever looked at Carr or Goff as elite, but if he could be in that top 10 mix for a franchise that hasn't had an elite quarterback in a long time, you'd sign up for that in a second.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And again, they have some weapons. They need more. They obviously need an offensive line. But I think Clint Kubiak has already got his resume out there. I mean, what he did with Kirk Cousins, can Mendoza be Kirk Cousins? Like, sure. What he did with Derek Carr in New Orleans, can he be Derek Carr? Like, sure. What he did with Sam Darnold most recently in Seattle, can he be that? Yeah, I think so. So I think that he's right along those lines. And we just saw that you can win a Super Bowl. Obviously, you need a complete team, special teams, defense as well, like Seattle has, but you can get it done. I think that this guy could be a really good quarterback. And the beauty of this is you draft him at number one doesn't mean that you have to play him day one. I know most number one overall picks play immediately, but when you're a team that knows you're not that one quarterback away from the Super Bowl, you can be patient. You can put a team around him. You can make sure the offensive line is in place. You can make sure that he's not thrown into the deep end when he's not ready to swim. There's a lot of options that this team has. And again, understanding who you are, knowing that you're not one player away from going to the Super Bowl. They're not going to be New England. They're not going to be Seattle. They're not going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2026. They won't. They'll build this thing up, and it's going to take a while.
When you look at the Raiders right now, I like Genty. I'm a believer. Brock Bowers, obviously one of the best players already in the league. He's unbelievable. That line has been a mess. And I know Colton Miller, is a player for them, but now we'll have to see what happens. And they need another wide receiver into the mix. How do you think they'll address that this offseason?
Well, I think that the offensive line is going to be addressed in a major way when it comes to free agency. That should be priority 1, 2, and 3. Tyler Linderbaum, I think, is at the top of everybody's wish list as far as anyone who needs a center and offensive line in the league. So he's going to have plenty of options, including staying in Baltimore. But the Raiders have to address that offensive line. Not to mention, Clint Kubiak comes in with that wide blocking scheme, that zone blocking scheme that the Kubiaks and Shanahans have made very, famous across the league. That's never worked for the Raiders. That zone blocking scheme has never, ever worked for one reason or the other. He's going to be hell-bent on making sure it works. So they're going to have to get guys, linemen, that can actually execute that kind of scheme, and they're going to have to get their offensive line coach to be able to coach it up and teach it the right way. So as I asked him about that at his introductory press conference on Tuesday, he told me, Q, it's repetition, 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 and you've got to have a very smart and athletic center. That guy has to be the key to everything you do on that offensive line. So that's why I think Tyler Linderbaum from Baltimore will be the very first target that the Raiders have once free agency opens up. They have almost $100 million in salary cap space, so they've got plenty of money to play with. The question is he going to be able to get out of Baltimore and become a free agent?
Wide receiving wise, Tyreek Hill's now a free agent. Mike Evans going to be a free agent. We'll see if he gets franchise tagged or not, but you talk about a team that could spend some money, maybe have to pay him more to get there. Like, is an Alec Pearson play? Like, what are you thinking wide receiver wise?
Yeah, I think that they're going to try to go get their number one wide receiver in the draft. I really do. I think that maybe they'll target one of those Indiana guys like a Elijah Surratt or an Omar Cooper. I think those guys could be in play for the Raiders. I think that Rashid Shaheed, I know he's not a number one wide receiver. I think he's going to be in play because he comes from Seattle, and he's also very dangerous in the kick return game, but Clint Kubiak knows how to use him. I don't think that they're going to really spend a lot of money in free agency on a wide receiver, on a number one, because again, Mike Evans is older. He's going to cost a lot of money. A guy like Tyreek Hill, he's banged up. I think he has another surgery that he's going to have. And plus with his off the field baggage, I don't think he's a guy that the Raiders would want in his locker room. John Spytek's been very adamant about the kind of characters that he wants in the locker room. I don't think Tyreek Hill fits that mold. So I would really look at the Raiders, who did draft 2 wide receivers last year, and they still have to figure out what they could do with them. I would look to see if they could find one more guy that Fernando Mendoza is very familiar with. So I'd look at one of those Indiana wide receivers that we just saw win a national championship.
Q Myers here with us. I don't know if it's going to pan out this way. They play in a tougher division, but I remember the Texans a few years ago. They had a lot of chaos. They were making hires, David Culley and Lovie Smith. You knew that neither of them were ever going to be the guy. Then they get D'Amico Ryans. They go trade up for Will Anderson. They draft C.J. Stroud. Boom. They're consistently in the playoffs. Like, you look at the Raiders, and they brought in Pete Carroll. It's because they didn't get a young, hot name last year. It was okay, just get him back to respectability. Pete's going to be a Hall of Fame coach, but it just wasn't what the Raiders needed. Now, bringing in Kubiak, I'm not a Raiders fan, but it would get me excited because it's okay. They're finally trying to build something for the future. Is that just the general feel with the Raider fan on the Kubiak hire?
Yeah, that's it, man. And they're trying to be patient, and that's something that they haven't shown. They haven't shown patience at all. I mean, I've been here since 2021, and they've gone through Gruden, they've gone through McDaniels, they've gone through Pierce, they've gone through Carroll. Now they're up to Kubiak. Like, the math doesn't math on that, and that's not
You
including
almost
the
forget
interim
about
coaches
Pierce,
either.
honestly.
Right. I mean, exactly. So it's been a mess, right? So now they're trying to show patience. John Spytek said the day that Pete Carroll got fired, he doesn't expect this to be an overnight thing. So he's going to allow this thing to grow and build and try to have sustainability. And so when you get a young coach, and Kubiak's only 38, you bring in a defensive coordinator and Robbie Leonard, who was already on the staff. He's only 36 or 37. I mean, he's a young dude as well. You see what they're trying to do. The young quarterback's going to come in, and Fernando Mendoza. They already have Bowers. They have Genty, and they need a lot of help everywhere else. And so they're going to have to try to build this thing up, similar to what Houston did. I don't think that they get turned around as quickly as Houston did, because Houston had multiple first-round picks based off the Deshaun Watson trade, and they were able to use that to go, like you said, trade up and go get Will Anderson Jr. right after taking C.J. Stroud. And that was obviously a big move that they made. I don't see the Raiders making a move like that unless they have the extra draft capital, which I'm sure we'll get to that subject soon.
With making Leonard the defensive coordinator, does that mean Max Crosby will 1,000% be in the silver and black come week 1?
No, not at all. I think that it helps, no doubt about it, because they are tight. Robbie Leonard is a guy that's got a lot of respect in the building. He's got a lot of respect along the locker room. He's a guy that I always watch whenever we're at training camp. He's a fiery guy. He gets after it, man, and he coaches those dudes up. But I don't think that that's the move that seals the deal. And I don't think that the Raiders honestly made that move to try to seal the deal with Max Crosby. I think that it helps, but if Max is going to want to go, he's going to have to ask it at some point for a trade. And if they make that happen, then they do. If they don't, they don't, right? So, I know there's a lot of speculation going on right now. I always believe where there's smoke, there's fire. I just don't know if Max Crosby is going to actually ask for a trade. And I don't know if the Raiders are going to receive the offer that they might think that they're going to get for Max Crosby by one of these teams that want to bring him into the mix.
What does your gut tell you right now? Will he be on the Raiders week 1?
Yeah, my gut feeling tells me that. And that's based off the fact that I don't think that he wants to be the bad guy. I don't think he's the one who wants to come out and say, yeah, please trade me. I think in an ideal world for Max, he would just get traded. The Raiders would say, well, this is the best interest of the team, and move him. I don't think he wants to disappoint Raider fans. This is a guy that was a 4th-round pick. This is a guy that nobody really believed in and only had one offer going to college. He's been an underdog his whole career and really made something of it. I think that he feels some loyalty to the Raiders, especially owner Mark Davis. I just don't think he wants to be that guy. And unless some team comes to the Raiders and blows them out of the water with some great offer, I don't think he gets moved. But, the combine's coming up. You know what happens at the combine. A lot of conversation going on about personnel, contracts, extensions, and potential trades.
But that's the thing. Like, I don't want to trade a player like Max Crosby, especially when you're trying to build something, because he is, a big leader on that team. But you look at what the Jets just did, another dysfunctional organization.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I get it. Max Crosby, a better player than Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner. But look at the way that they positioned themselves with 5 first-round draft picks over the next 2 drafts, and what they get back is big. But if they get back a 1 and a 2, or obviously 2 1s, it may make sense with how they're trying to build this thing to get rid of Crosby now.
It does make sense from that standpoint. There's no doubt about it. I just don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know if they would get that, right? I mean, he'll be 29 years old in August. He's coming off another knee surgery. And let's be honest about the situation. I love Max Crosby. I think he's a great player. Excuse me. But I also don't see him making all those TJ Watt plays. I don't see him making all those Myles Garrett plays. I don't see him making all those Micah Parsons plays. I don't see him doing that consistently enough. That's the part of his game I'd like to see him evolve into. The Von Miller plays, the closers, right? Khalil Mack for the Raiders back in the day, he was the ultimate closer. When it came to you got to have it on 3rd down, you got to get him off the field, boom. That's what Khalil Mack would do. I haven't seen Max take his game there consistently enough yet to say that he's going to warrant 2 first-round picks and a player like Micah Parsons. And that's apparently what the report is, that the Raiders would want 2 players, 2 1s, and a player. And I don't know if that's going to be obtainable. But, I guess if a team gets desperate, they'll give up a lot of capital.
And back when I was a kid, I wanted to go on a date with Beyonce. but it doesn't always happen. Q Myers, a few more moments with him. Great job, obviously, covering the Raiders locally, and then also great job nationally for ESPN Radio. When you look at this team's direction, and we went through the Max Crosby stuff, you talk about Clint Kubiak, Genty, and Bowers, and a few other pieces, and the line, like the Schwartz rumor on the defensive coordinator front. Obviously, they go with Leonard, and then Florio kind of floated out yesterday. Oh, that dream of bringing him on staff isn't dead yet. What's the smoke around the whole Schwartz situation since he's no longer the DC with the Browns?
Yeah, I mean, from everything I heard is that they were interested in Schwartz and they would love to have him as part of the mix. I don't think that they're willing to make any kind of compensation available for the Browns. I know he resigned. I know they still own his contract and hold his contract rights. So I don't know where that's coming from. I know Florio said it's not dead. Now that Leonard's the DC, maybe they'd bring him in as a senior advisor. I think it would make sense because he's been there, done that as a former head coach. So it's going to help Clint Kubiak out, who's just getting his first opportunity to be a head coach. I just don't know if at this stage of the game it's really realistic that could possibly happen. They did bring in Mike McCoy, who's obviously had coaching experience as a head coach in the league, and he was there in Tennessee and was the interim coach last year as well. Rick Dennison is apparently supposed to be coming in. That's a guy that's got plenty of experience, not necessarily as a head coach, but plenty of experience in the league. So he's got a nice blend of young and old on his coaching staff. So I think he's going to be all right. But I think Jim Schwartz and that defense that he's able to construct and put together, I think that would have been a great dynamic for the Raiders. But to me, it doesn't feel like that's going to happen.
Just to circle back, because we mentioned Derek Carr earlier, his name is in the news. I always cannot stand Derek Carr. Nothing against him, but there's always like a woe is me with Derek Carr.
Thank you.
For a guy that doesn't love drama, he always creates drama. And get me wrong, there's a lot of things that was wrong with the Raiders that Carr should get a pass for, but he's always just annoyed me. And I see the clips of him and his brother, like one day, oh, we love the Jets. And then, the next day, I want to go somewhere where I could win a Super Bowl. I have no interest of seeing Derek Carr play another game in the NFL, but it seems like he wants to come on back.
Yeah, it's weird, man. He's been really trying to push this narrative, and I'm assuming it's from his end where he would like to come on board and be a coach on the Kubiak staff. Or now he's throwing the narrative out there that he'd like to come back and play. And it blew my mind. And I have a lot of respect for Derek. I mean, obviously being around him, and I know he stabilized the position for the Raiders, but it does seem like there's always drama. And with this fan base, like that's the last distraction that they need. They're already been a mess, right? They're trying to figure out and pick up the pieces and get everything together. The last thing they need is Derek Carr to all of a sudden be the ultimate divide. Fernando Mendoza goes out and has a bad game. Derek Carr should be in there. Like, that's the last thing anyone needs to hear. It made me laugh when he said that he wants to play for a contender. I was like, wait, you never even won a playoff game.
Yeah,
like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, where are these demands coming from? So I'm with you. As far as I'm concerned, Derek Carr should probably just continue to do his podcast with his brother, hang out, do their thing. And his brother was making it sound like it was a package deal. Like, well, we're going to go here. We're going to go there. I'm like, wait. What is this? So
I've seen the brother, and I get it. It's his brother, but the carrying of the water on the NFL Network for all those years, and thinking that like his brother was Tom Brady just made me want to absolutely puke. So there's talk about him maybe joining the coaching staff.
There was conversations that was being floated out there. Yeah, because him and Clint Kubiak apparently are pretty tight from their times together in New Orleans. And there was conversations about, well, maybe he could be the quarterback coach and he would be interested in that. And I was like, no,
thank you.
No, no, not a good idea.
What can you tell me? Just one more, then we'll let you run. What can you tell me about John Spytek? He has the relationship with Brady from Michigan. They were together in Tampa Bay. I feel like for a guy that has a lot of power, he's a mysterious kind of character, at least from afar, sitting here in New York.
Yeah, he is mysterious. And the reason why he's mysterious, nobody's talking about him because everyone's focusing on Brady. Everyone's focusing on Mark Davis. Everyone's focusing on Max Crosby and what's going to happen with Fernando Mendoza. John Spytek is the guy that it's his show now, right? Last year with Pete Carroll, it wasn't his show. He was down further on the pecking order. And he didn't have that power. But now Mark Davis has said, hey, it's John Spytek and Tom Brady leading this thing. So he's a guy that's got so much respect around the league. Everyone knew he was going to be a GM. He's a guy that loves the draft. He likes to draft and develop. He doesn't really have a lot of focus in on trying to bring in a bunch of high-priced veterans. So I'm excited about what John Spytek, now that he is in control, what he can do and the way that he's putting together this coaching search and the way he went about hiring Clint Kubiak. Even at his press conference, Spytek was running it. Mark Davis was sat in the back of the room, right? And he was dressed up. He's feeling good about himself, had a big smile on his face. John Spytek did all the heavy lifting with Clint Kubiak. So I feel like it's a true partnership between those two. And I'm not saying that that's going to guarantee the Raiders are going to be back to all of a sudden a really good team and a playoff contender, but it gives them a chance to have some continuity and be on the same page. And they definitely were not on the same page in 2025.
He is Q Myers. Does a great job covering the Raiders locally. Also, you can hear him nationally on ESPN Radio. Q, appreciate it. Thanks for filling us in on the Raiders.
All the time, my man. Appreciate you.
You got it. There he is. Q Myers joining us right here on the Zach Gelb Show on 365 Sports. You'll look at the Raiders, and obviously there's off-the-field issues with the Chiefs when you see them in their division. There was this whole story out today about the lawsuit with Rashee Rice, and when you go through the details, they're absolutely horrific, and we know that because of the issue on the highway last year, that Rashee Rice was suspended 6 games. I was reading this today via Jesse Newell, who is a Kansas City Chiefs who's a Kansas City Chiefs beat reporter for The Athletic. The defendant, Rashee Rice, and plaintiff Dakota Jones lived together following an escalation in violent behavior in December 2023. The defendant, Rashee Rice, strangled the plaintiff, Dakota Jones, at their shared home in Victory Park, Texas. The defendant, Rashee Rice, continued to reportedly assaulted Dakota Jones over the course of their relationship through July 2025. The defendant, Rice, has grabbed, choked, strangled, pushed, thrown, scratched, hit, and headbutted Miss Jones, as well as hit her with objects. Additionally, he has engaged in other violent and abusive behavior towards Ms. Jones, including throwing objects, destroying property, punching walls, and breaking furniture, as well as locking her out in the middle of the night. Many of these behaviors occurred while Ms. Jones was pregnant. So you read that, and it's like, oh, boy. Like, that is absolutely horrific and disgusting if these things are true. And then, unfortunately, you get to the football conversation. Like, what's the football future of Rashee Rice? Like, what is he going to look like? I always say this. You could commit despicable acts as long as you're not in a jail cell and you have talent, which Rashee Rice does. They're going to keep on giving you opportunities in the NFL. But, like, you look at this division, and why I'm bringing it up when talking about the Raiders, as the Raiders are trying to build, you see 3 teams that are in front of you. One is Kansas City, who I do think is going to bounce back. But now there's questions about Rashee Rice. I think they're going to bring back Tyreek Hill. They may be able to draft Jeremiah Love. You still have Patrick Mahomes. You bring back Eric Bieniemy. So you look at that team, it's going to be the first time you walk into a season with Kansas City in a long time, not truly knowing what to expect. You then look at the Broncos, who Sean Payton and Bo Nix have had a little bit of a back and forth through the media over the whole ankle thing and Bo's injury past. I don't think that relationship is as warm and fuzzy as what people think. That's just where I'm going to leave it at there. And you look at this Denver team, great defense. Offensively, we know what Sean and Bo could do together. If they had Bo Nix, maybe they get to the Super Bowl. They probably still don't beat Seattle. So Denver is a good team. And then you got the Chargers, who with Harbaugh and Herbert, they got to start winning when it matters, and they'll get both their tackles back in Rashawn Slater and then the big fellow from Notre Dame in Joe Alt, who are both lost for the season. So you look at this division, it's tough. It's going to be tough. But you have Gentry, you have Bowers, you're going to have your quarterback in Mendoza, and you hope that he works. Defensively, I don't know if Crosby's going to be there. I know Q leans that he will be back with the Raiders, but if they get the right offer and Crosby, you know what Crosby started to remind me of? Started to remind me of Damian Lillard when it was the end at the time in Portland. Didn't want to be the bad guy. And I remember doing shows and people from Portland called me. They'd be like, we don't think Damian Lillard's a bad guy if he wants to leave the Trailblazers. I get why he would want to leave the Trailblazers. And then you had Bradley Beal as well, like didn't want to be the bad guy with the Wizards. And for like all 13 Wizards fans, they were also saying like, hey, we would get if Bradley Beal wanted to leave the Wizards. He had an opportunity to try to force his way out last year. He signed the extension. If I'm Max Crosby, I'm looking at what Myles Garrett and TJ Watt did last offseason, which you also did. That signed a new extension. For TJ Watt, he's never won a playoff game. The Steelers, they are the kings of one and done, but at least they get to the postseason. I would really zone in and zero in on the Myles Garrett situation where, yes, you just won a Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett. You just had a record-breaking season, most sacks in a single season. And what did it get you? Yeah, it got you Defensive Player of the Year award. It got you a lot of national praise. When they do that top 100 list of the NFL, you'll probably be in the top 3. Maybe you'll end up being the number 1 player with the year that we just had, especially because Mahomes missed the playoffs. Lamar missed the playoffs. Josh Allen had another bad, postseason loss. Burrow was hurt. So when you look at some of the marquee quarterbacks in the league, and usually the top 100 list, it should go to a quarterback in my estimation. And receiving wise, you got Puka and JSN. I think Garrett probably will be number 1 on that NFL top 100 list. So you have some accolades, but if you want to win, you needed to leave the Browns. And that's why Myles Garrett requested a trade. I thought the intent there was good, but ultimately he ended up taking the $40 million a year, and that's his right. He's allowed to do so. If I'm Max, you just sign that extension. You're sitting there. The team's going through another coach. I know you love the Raiders, and the part of the story that I don't think gets told a lot, Max Crosby had to overcome a lot of personal demons, and he had to, and he still fights addiction. And I know he's sober now, but when you're in a routine that works for you, that is maybe, more than football, and you're in a good spot in your life right now, like maybe there is and I know it's speculation, but maybe there's a genuine fear that if you go somewhere else, you could go down, or you open yourself up to maybe being more susceptible to going down a dark road again. Like, I think those are fair things to ask. So when the Raiders believed in him when most people didn't, there probably is that loyalty. There probably is him not wanting to be the bad guy. But, like, if you trust your process and you have a good support circle that I know Max Crosby has, I would advise him, I would suggest to him to go force your way off the Raiders. And I think if you say to the Raiders, hey, I want to get traded, I don't think it needs, like, all endings don't need to be contentious. They don't. And in this case, I don't think it needs to get contentious. I don't think it will get contentious. Now, the Raiders are eventually going to have to get back their price. They're eventually going to need to get the proper compensation, but I would view it as the Raiders, like, we're in a division right now where there's Kansas City, there's the Broncos and the Chargers. And also, we are trying to build when we're ready to be good. And sometimes you could go right to the top. Like, we saw the Patriots go from the 4th pick in the draft to getting to the Super Bowl this year. We saw the Broncos picking in the top 15 and then going to the playoffs back-to-back years. We've seen the Texans be an habitual playoff team after being the 2nd overall pick in the draft. Like, you could, Andrew Luck with the Colts, you get the right quarterback, things could change really quickly. But when you're in a gauntlet that the AFC West is, you're probably going to need some patience. And I get it. Raiders fans don't want to hear the word patience because they've been bad. I'm 31. I know the Raiders made the Super Bowl once in my lifetime. And they got blown out by Tampa Bay. In the early 2000s, they were a player with Carr. They made the playoffs for a year or two. But outside of that, the Raiders have not only just been bad, they've been appalling. So you need to have patience. And I know even though Mark Davis is impatient, the fan base, even though we've seen them move from Oakland to Las Vegas, those Raiders fans, they are, even though they're crazy, they're as good as and as passionate as fans are in the history of the NFL. So I get it from a fan perspective. You may be saying, ugh, like, here's this bloviating talk show host from New York that's preaching patience to us. Like, we've been bad for so long. Yeah, but if this regime is going to get it right with Spytek and Kubiak, it's probably more likely that it takes time compared to it happening in just one season, especially when you're in that division and Crosby's about to be 30. You get at least one first-round pick, which I think you should be able to get back, and then some. It doesn't have to be 2 1s. If you get a 1 and then some other legitimate capital, I do think it makes sense for the Raiders to say goodbye to Max Crosby. So that's the state of the Raiders the last 30 minutes. Tough division. They got a lot of building to do. They got some building blocks with Genti, with Bowers, now Mendoza. You're going to have Colton Miller as well You bring in Clint Kubiak, and you got to hope that partnership of Kubiak and Spytech with Brady monitoring it is going to work. But that's how we start off this new series, is we'll go through all 32 teams in the NFL and monitor their offseason, and we'll try to stay in the draft order. So coming up tomorrow, maybe we'll do 2 a day sometimes. Maybe it will be in less than in fewer than 32 days, or maybe we'll just do 1 a day. We'll see how it does work. But tomorrow we will tap in to the JATS Jets. All righty. Zach Gelb here with you on 365 Sports. We got one more segment to play. Let's do some NFL offseason. The Chiefs have opened up some cap space today with Patrick Mahomes restructuring his contract. Tony Clark did what? And also some franchise tag decisions with the window opening yesterday do loom. We will take a timeout. We'll come on back after these short messages right here. Zach Gelb Show on 365 Sports.
Do you have a second?
Yeah, come on in.
Thanks. I'm having an issue with Ralph.
With Ralph?
He keeps stealing my lunch.
He's just researching new flavors.
That is slow smoked turkey.
Ralph steals my lunch all the time. You get used to it.
He also peed on my bag.
He is warming up to you. Starting a new job, it's a big change. I want you to think about how you can be more accommodating to Ralph. We're all co-owners here.
If I'm only wearing one suit this summer, it has to be Tuileries Performance Linen. It's wrinkle resistant, machine washable, and built with stretch and breathability that actually moves with you. It'll keep you cool, sharp, and stress-free at your next event.
What does being different mean to me? That is an interesting question.
Because there really isn't one way. There's a bunch of different ways you could do it.
But love is passion. Someone you can't live without.
What do you want? What's that really good non-alcoholic beer I keep hearing about?
Do you have that really great non-alcoholic beer that I keep seeing?
You mean athletic? You're looking at it.
It's athletic. Ask for it.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
All righty, welcome back in. Zach Gelb Show. We will get to our poll question coming up in just a bit. Earlier in the program, I did give you my top 10 coaches in college football entering the 2026 season. But I got to ask you a question here, Garrett Ross. I don't believe that this channel does a lot of baseball talk, I'm going to assume, right?
No, but I would love to.
Okay, and you had the kid from, what was it? The kid from Baylor hit 3 grand slams?
Yeah, so Tice hit 3 grand slams the other night. But not only did he do that, bro, his first at bat in game 2, he came up with the bases loaded. He hit a sacrifice fly, and then they hit a home run. Like the next batter slapped a home run. And then he came up again on Sunday. He had another opportunity, and he was hit by a pitch. So he hit 3 grand slams and had an opportunity for 5, which is unreal.
3 grand slams in one game?
In one game. It's only been done once, and it was like in the 1950s.
Now, I think in Major League Baseball, Fernando Tatis, had 2 grand slams in a game. I remember that, I think, when I was growing up. But 3 just to be in the for obviously hitting all 3 is crazy. But just to be in a position in one baseball game when you're up 3 times with the bags full, that is wild. So that I think is the only baseball mention that I've heard on this network. Are you a big baseball fan?
I'm a big college baseball fan. I've watched so much college baseball over the past few days. It should be illegal.
So there's this prevailing thought that this is going to be the last full season of Major League Baseball that we're going to be accustomed to, because in the season after that, there's anticipated that they're going to miss some games. There's going to be a huge labor dispute. There could be a lockout. Like if we have a full 162 for the 2027 season, I would be very surprised at this rate. The owners, they want a salary cap. The players are going to say, well, if you want a salary cap, we want a salary floor. The owners don't want a salary floor. So the whole thing is going to be a mess. So it was already a mess before that. But then yesterday it comes out that the head of the Players Association, former Major League Baseball player, when he was with the Mets, I remember, Tony Clark, he would wear double zeros. So Tony Clark resigned. Like the head of the MLBPA resigned. And this is a year before, like the season before, it's expected to be a major strike in baseball. I'm going to ask you a question. It's okay if you don't know the answer.
Okay.
I actually hope you don't know the answer because it would probably be better. But if you do, that's fine.
Okay.
Did you see the reason why he had to resign yesterday?
I did not see the reason. I know it was something with his brother, I believe. I could be totally wrong.
This one's it's ugly.
Yeah.
I don't have all the details. So you hear that the guy resigns, and my first thought was, all right, like maybe he just saw the writing on the wall and didn't want to deal with this crap anymore. Or maybe he did something behind the scenes that was like nefarious. The details in this one, from the limited details that we have, are absolutely wild. This is from the New York Post. Tony Clark is stepping down, and it comes with a twist no one saw coming. Clark resigned as executive director of the MLB Players Association on Tuesday after spending the past 12 years in this role. But it wasn't the federal investigation by the Eastern District of New York that brought his reign to an end, because there's an investigation right now. Instead, according to the Post, Joel Sherman, who's been covering baseball for a long time and is extremely reputable, it was an inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law, who also worked for the MLB PA. Yes, Garrett's face is bewildered right now.
Bro.
He had an alleged inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law, who also, I think it was in 2023, got hired by the MLB PA.
You can't be doing that, man.
No shit.
That is next level.
Like,
bullshit.
if you're going to have an inappropriate relationship, right?
Yeah.
It's a secretary. I'm not saying it's right. It's a secretary in your office. You know, maybe it's a cute gal. And like, I'm not saying those things are right. You're in a position of power. You shouldn't do that. Your sister-in-law?
Oh my God, dude.
Oh my God.
Hired?
Say it again.
You got to wonder, like, did he get her hired? Yeah. Like, I mean, oh my God.
I'm going to assume here. And when you assume, you can make an ass out of you and me, and maybe there was a lot of ass in this case.
I bet there was.
I'm going to assume he got her the job with the MLBPA. He's been there for 12 years, and I think I read she was hired in 2023. Here's the rest of the article. Clark's demise comes at a pivotal time for the Players Union as it enters its final year of its collective bargaining agreement with Major League Baseball. Baseball owners are widely expected to lock the players out after the 2026 season. The discovery came after an internal probe that unearthed messages that the union employee, The Athletic, reported Clark was made aware of the finding on Friday, and the players were informed over the weekend, which led to the push of him having to resign. The EDNY was looking into the allegations that Clark and the MLBPA had misused funds from a licensing agreement. Initial reports surrounding Clark's resignation on Tuesday morning indicated it was tied to the federal probe, which was expanded into prosecutors looking at allegations of obstruction, ESPN reported. Former NFLPA lawyer Heather McPhee alleged that Clark and former NFL player union boss Lloyd Howell had conducted a pressure campaign to shut down a thorough review of bonus plans that gave millions to one team executive board members. One team is the licensing company co-owned by the MLBPA and Players Way, and part of what being probed by the Eastern District. Questions arose from Players Way spending close to $10 million while only holding a few lightly attended live events, with the expenditure being significantly higher than the $3.9 million that the MLBPA told ESPN in a report last year. The MLBPA hired outside counsel in the wake of the federal probe into Clark, and the lawyers retained by the players. Adam Braverman has kept the 8-man executive subcommittee up to date on the investigation of the potential legal issues. I'm trying to see, like, in this long article, when they just get out to how they found that he was maybe doing something with the sister-in-law that he got hired at the MLBPA. Like, there's a probe, and that's like big enough where you could lose your job. And then it's like, oh, something happened where it comes out that he had this inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law. All this comes with an even bigger battle on the horizon, with the current collective bargaining agreement set to expire on December 1st, and many anticipating a lockout. There's a statement about the timing. Union leadership met Tuesday afternoon, but did not vote on any interim replacements for Clark. That's what Jeff Passan had to say. Clark joined the union in 2010 after a 15-year playing career. Meyer became involved in the MLBPA in 2018, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so it doesn't say how it came on out that there was this inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law. But geez, it had to do with this probe. And then something comes out where there was an inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law.
We need Pablo Torre on this. He'll get to the bottom of this quick.
Yeah, this is wild.
So on that, what are your thoughts though on the salary cap in general? Like, who are you siding with in that? Or because to me, the contracts are so ridiculous now.
So,
I don't know how you can do it.
If you want me to have a salary cap in baseball, a sport that doesn't have a salary cap, then you have to have a salary floor.
Right.
That would be a fair salary floor. That would be my common ground. Eventually the owners are going to win because I've seen enough of these labor disputes.
Billionaires always win.
All right, you miss a few weeks of checks, you'll be unified. You start to miss a month or two of salary, you get a lot of people that start to cave, and then you get closer votes on things that eventually do sway in favor of the owners. So I don't like Rob Manfred. Not a fan of the commissioner. I'm going to assume that in some way the owners eventually get their way. But you even go back to last year. I guess Rob Manfred was trying to get ahead of this, and he went into the Phillies locker room at some point, and Bryce Harper literally stood up and said, "Get the F out of this locker room if you're going to come on in here and talk about a salary cap." Good. So put it this way. I don't know what this is going to mean for the negotiations, but even if it was expected there was going to be a lockout, at least you knew who was running the MLBPA. And it seemed like players at least trusted Tony Clark. Now there's going to be an interim or a new guy coming in. Who knows what the background is, or a gal. And Tony Clark, a year before this lockout is expected, there's a probe. He gets popped. And it comes out, oh, no, what you actually had to resign for was an inappropriate relationship with your sister-in-law. I'm not great in these litigious battles, and I'm not great in these labor negotiations, and a lot of that stuff bores me. I'm just going out on a limb here. Yesterday was a win for the owners.
I would say.
Because they at least know who's leading them. We don't know who's leading the players right now, and usually the owners at an advantage over the players. All righty. Patrick Mahomes. He has restructured his contract, according to Adam Schefter, lowering his salary cap number from $78.2 million to $34.65 million for the upcoming season, and creating $43.56 million in salary cap space. That was also reported at Jason_OTC from overthecap.com on Twitter. So this is Patrick Mahomes. We missed the playoffs in the Kansas City Chiefs. I need some more talent. I need to revamp the roster this year. I'm going to take less, and hoping the team goes out there and spends more to put the Chiefs back into a position where you could trim the cap down and then open up some salary cap space to maybe go get a player or two that could go help them. We'll monitor the Rashee Rice situation, as we gave you those details in the last segment. And then in terms of the franchise tag, I think eventually George Pickens is going to get franchise tagged. Maybe they get a long-term deal done. The thoughts are that Kenneth Walker is not going to get franchise tagged, and it's running backs by committee really in the NFL now. Sure, you have some great running backs. I don't think Kenneth Walker is a great running back. He is a good running back. I know he just won the Super Bowl MVP. When you win the Super Bowl MVP, I think somebody else is going to throw you the bag, and Seattle's going to let him walk. Indianapolis has a decision to make between Daniel Jones and Alec Pierce. I'm going to venture to say that they are more likely to tag Jones. Maybe they could get a deal done with Jones before they have to tag him. I think Jones probably coming off the injury. Would he take a 1 year with a big salary? Maybe. Or does maybe he go with like a 3-year deal, $100 million kind of contract with Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield? I think if you're the Colts and they clearly want to bring Daniel Jones back, even though I would be very reserved and skeptical in giving him a long-term deal, I think you try to hammer out a 3-year deal with him, see if he will take it. If not, by the end of the franchise tag window, then you got to slap the tag on him and hope you can get a deal done with Alec Pierce. I think the Jets are going to franchise tag Breece Hall. I'm a little bit surprised by that. I thought they were going to trade him at the deadline last year, but that obviously did not happen. And just getting back to Pickens, that's going to be the one to monitor, because if they tag him, and with the way that Pickens sometimes acts, he's not going to be all that happy with getting tagged. He wants a long-term deal. I know Jerry Jones loves the drama. I could see that being an issue all throughout the summer. I think the Cowboys, though, should get a long-term deal done with George Pickens when you have Dak throwing the football to CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. Some other names to monitor. Kyle Pitts is a fascinating one because his first year in the league was good. His latest season in the NFL was good, but in between it was a lot of ugliness. I would let Pitts, if I'm the Falcons, go test the market and tell him, come back to us. Like, we'll make you an offer. If you can do better than it, great. Then come back to us and we'll see what could happen. But I would not franchise tag him. So that's kind of how the franchise tag is looking right now. I would think Pickens definitely gets tagged. Jones or Pierce, I would expect one of them to get tagged. And I would say probably Breece Hall as well will get tagged. I don't think I missed anybody else that was kind of just under consideration for me with the franchise tag, but you never know how these teams do operate. All righty. Let's get the poll results in. Who is the best coach in college football entering this season? Ooh, runaway. And I think the order is right. Who's the best coach right now in college football? Kurt Cignetti, Ryan Day, and Kirby Smart were the three choices. I win. Google me. Mr. Kurt Cignetti did end up taking the first place with 79%. So 79% for Kurt Cignetti. He's been the most impressive coach in college football right now. 2 years at Indiana, takes them to the playoff the first time. They get blown out or they lose to Notre Dame. Then the second year, people think they're going to drop off. Nope, they get better. They win the Heisman Trophy, undefeated national champions. And what he's done at Indiana, of all places, it is a heck of a story. The best story I think I've ever seen from a team in college football. And Kurt Cignetti is in at 79%. Kirby Smart, who won the 2 national championships, has continuously won the SEC, but has not been back to a national championship game, has not won a national championship since, as the Big Ten has won 3 straight national championships. Kirby Smart is in second with 16% of the vote, and then Ryan Day in at 5%. I gave you my full list earlier in the show. I had honorable mentions: Kyle Whittingham, Matt Campbell, James Franklin, Kenny Dillingham, Mike Elko, Clark Lee, and Joey McGuire for my top 10 coaches. Those were honorable mentions. Sark was in at 10. Kalen DeBoer was in at 9. Mario Cristobal was in at 9. Kalen DeBoer was in at 8. Dabo Sweeney was in at 7. Lane Kiffin in at 6. Marcus Freeman in at 5. Dan Lanning in at 4. And then I did agree with the viewers today. Ryan Day in at 3. Kirby Smart in at 2. And Kurt Cignetti with the Hoosiers in at number 1. Like to thank Garrett Ross for putting together this program today. Also, big thanks to each and every one of you for tuning on in. And I'd like to thank Q Myers for joining us. You can always give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Zach Gelb. That's ZACHGELB. You can also get me at TikTok at The Zach Gelb Show. Big thanks to Andrew Valade also for helping put this program together as well. And YouTube.com/@365SportsYT. YouTube.com/@365SportsYT. Subscribe. Charles Huff, the new head football coach at Memphis, is going to join us tomorrow. We'll also preview the Jets as well as we did the Raiders today. We'll talk to you right at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central Time tomorrow. The Zach Gelb Show is here live on 365 Sports, Monday through Friday from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 to 3 p.m. Central Time. We'll talk to you tomorrow, everybody. Have a great night. We out. Bye-bye. Peace.